guys, we're back for another episode of Inside Stoney Creek. And I've got my lovely wife, Kristin, back for more.
Yes.
And if you didn't get a chance to watch last week's episode, the whole idea here is that we want to inspire and encourage people and inform them about the launch of our Stoney Creek campus, which is coming up in the fall, and we're so excited about it. Yep. But today, we're going to talk about how to have it in ministry. And when you talk about having like an it factor, that's an important thing. A lot of times we don't talk about that as a culture, but there are certain things and places and even people that have an it factor, and there's some places that don't have it. Like there's like, think about any restaurant you may go to, or even like sometimes like a family party or someone's home. There's some times where there's just an it, and then there's another time where what we might call an ick, right? There's an it or an ick. So to kick things off, we're going to play a quick game just to understand. Well, before we say that, the reason why we're talking about that is we know that Heritage has an it factor right now. Last year, 2023, we had 407 baptisms.
That's crazy.
So cool.
Some people don't really, that doesn't like, they can't even fully like grasp the craziness of that. But like on average, a church in the United States baptizes like 1.5, one pregnant lady, really.
Yes, they average 1.5 across the country. So to have 407 shows that God is doing something, and it's not about us, even though, you know, Heritage has it's because of God, 100%. Yes. Everybody needs to know right off the bat.
We know
Give him the credit. But let's talk about let's do a game, ick versus it, because everybody has those things that are like pet peeves. We're going to call it an ick.
Okay, I need to hear yours.
Okay. First, I would say something that just is an ick for me, for sure. Oh, no. And you also hate it too. No. It's not a personality thing. One of the things in my life that I hate the most is the security line at an airport. Oh. And you hate me in the security line at the airport. I would
rather not go through the security with you. Yes. I'd rather just be like, I'll see you once we get to the gate, and I'll just mosey my way. But the problem is I don't ever really know where the gate is.
Yes, Kristin is a passenger princess on every trip we're going on. She just sits back. I have all the things. She doesn't know where we're going. She doesn't know.
I don't have a boarding pass.
Where we're renting a car from. No. She knows nothing. So what that's part of it is I'm feeling the pressure of getting through. You're taking your wallet out, your belt out, but do you do your jewelry this time? Do you do the like? It's just so much stress. And I'm not taking anything away from the TSA people, because I love, like, they're doing their job. Yeah. I'm thankful for them. But an ick for me is going through security, and I hate it. How about you?
Okay, my ick. This is a crazy one. I do not like a restaurant that doesn't have good ranch.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
That's an ick to me.
Yeah.
If I get, like, I'm like, okay, I'm going to get chicken tendies.
And then they bring garbage ranch,
the, like, stuff that's from a bottle. Like, even at our house, I won't ever buy ranch unless we make it homemade, because I don't like bottle. I don't like fake tasting ranch.
Give me an example of a local place that you like the ranch from.
Well, I mean, pizza place, Jets
Pizza.
You can't go wrong with, like, I will sometimes.
Can we get an amen in the comments if anybody agrees with Jets Pizza Ranch is the bomb?
There's one in the corner, or on the corner, and sometimes we'll just get their ranch. Like, we don't even need pizza. I mean, you always need pizza, but we just will get their ranch. So
so ick is bad ranch. Okay, for me, an it. Well, I'm gonna go to an it now, because I only had one ick that I could think of right off the top of my head.
I got a lot.
Okay. Well, then let's hear another one of yours.
Okay. I might get canceled for this. I'm not going to get canceled. But I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on a Christian podcast, but cheesy Christian music. That's an ick for me.
Yes.
330 Worship, amazing. I love them. They're awesome. There's a lot of amazing Christian music, but there's some, and you know it. You know if you like turn on like K-Love or something.
You're like,
and nothing against K-Love.
Shoot, we're getting canceled double.
Edit this out. No, okay. So you know if you turn on,
K-Love's great, but
K-Love's
sometimes
awesome.
Christian music, when you hear it, you just know.
It's not their fault.
You're like,
you have to play what's relevant.
You're like, this is Christian music,
and it's not good.
Yeah,
some of it's awesome. But as Christians, I feel like we need to be the most creative. Yes. We need to be the most like, I don't know, people should be like, even non-Christians should be wanting to listen to our music because it's that good.
100%.
So it's an ick for me.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, hopefully.
So I'm so sorry. I'm not saying any specific people.
Yes. Hey, and it for me, I'm going to go to the positive. And it for me is Saturday morning college football time. And I know we have Nate is here helping make things happen behind the scenes in the podcast. And he probably is yelling amen from the back, from the other room. Yes. Saturday morning college football, especially if it's like October, it's cool out, you're barbecuing, and you know that the games start at noon, but the games don't really start at noon because there's always a 9 a.m. or a 10 a.m. pregame show, and you can just watch college football all day and root for your teams. You don't even know who's playing sometimes, you're just watching games. Okay. It's so much fun. I love that. That's all it for me.
That's awesome. What time of year does this happen?
What do you mean? You're usually there.
You're never paying attention?
Usually starts in September and goes until early January.
Oh, okay, cool. I must be somewhere else.
What are you talking about? We've had college football days at our house. We've invited people over.
I don't know. Okay. It for me is like cozy vibes.
Okay.
So you go somewhere and or you go to a friend's house and you're just like, you feel like welcomed and cozy, and like they've got a cozy. I'm surprised we don't have a blanket, and I almost got one, but like just a blanket on you. Yes. You have like, you feel like just welcome. Yes. Or like in our, like I'm super intense about making a cozy environment in our house. Like our bed, like I want cozy bedding.
Yes, you
do.
We
have multiple like pillows.
And this is what separates me and you in some ways, because I can be cozy anywhere. I can wear a suit home.
He wears like jeans in the house. Like who wears jeans? Like I am now because we're filming this, but I'm wearing like sweatpants or like that's
definitely you. You're like, how are you still wearing that? I'm like, what are you talking about? I feel incredible right now.
Restrictions. I'm not wearing socks. Like I just like to be free.
Yes. Well, I'm glad you feel that way. All right, so just letting everybody know a little bit about us, just things that we're interested in, the likes and dislikes. What are some things that are hobbies?
So as a couple, we love traveling. We
don't go anywhere like super bougie or anything like that, but we definitely like to get out.
Even if we're going like up north, like we just really like exploring new things.
Camping,
as a couple, we love coffee shops. So we're like always trying to find, if we're traveling somewhere, we're looking up the cutest coffee shop. So we're not going to Starbucks. We're not going to Tim Hortons. We are, that's another ick for me too.
Tim Hortons?
Yes.
Oh, we're getting canceled for sure. All the Canadians and
I would
and local
rather not
people
have coffee than have Tim Hortons coffee.
Oh, wow. Okay. Jeez Louise.
Okay. So we're finding cute coffee shops. So we love coffee shops. We love spending time with friends.
Yes, love that.
We love just being with our people and like cooking together and just like being outside on a patio and just hanging out and being being in community with our people.
Yes. I'd say we live a pretty normal life, but we tried our best to make like moments and make special, like try to make things that are like average, try to step it up a little bit as much as possible.
Yeah. We flipped a house.
Yes.
So that's something that is a super interesting thing about us. We don't plan on doing it again, but it was really, unless you have a house that you want to, work with us on. We did it in 2021.
Yes.
So everything was shut down. It was just a crazy time in the world. And so we had this opportunity to flip a house in Port Huron, and it was from the 1900s. And it was such a cool house. We really got to create the it vibe there.
Yes,
I think just in the staging and just the way that we were able to make it just feel authentic and different. So that is something about us.
Yes. And the cool thing is too, is we have actually had the privilege of every church we've been a part of, and even the ministries we've been a part of, God has blessed our ministries and the church we've been a part of, that they've really had it.
Yeah.
And we've had the privilege of, like I said, starting some of those things and seeing it from the ground floor. And so just like talking about even like certain things, the way God has wired us, that I think has allowed us to be a part of those things. And obviously everybody has different wiring the way God created. There's no wrong ways. There's no right ways. But I think one of the strengths that we have is if anybody is here and they're into the Enneagram test, which
we get
Kristin
to talk about the Enneagram?
Yes.
Kristin's
is
a whole podcast
No,
on the Enneagram?
not a whole podcast.
Right.
Definitely not. But one of the things, I mean, I'm sure you would love to have a whole podcast.
We're going to do that. That's going to be one of the
But there's 9 different Enneagram types, right? And it kind of describes you. If you don't know what that is, go ahead and do it. You can do an Enneagram free one online. But Kristin is a 2, which is the helper.
Yeah.
And a helper is somebody who is there to assist. She likes to help behind the scenes. She's very empathetic and compassionate. And I honestly think that's helped a lot in different ministry opportunities and things you've been a part of, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love that so I'm an Enneagram, you have a wing. So I'm Enneagram 2, wing 3, and you're an Enneagram 3, wing 2.
Yeah.
So the fact that we get to kind of like, we understand each other, and my strengths cover your weaknesses, vice versa. And so I think that has really made us like be able to be successful in what we've done for the Lord, because he's given us the ability to work together well and understand each other. Like when he's, stressing possibly about an event or a post event or, needing that like validation from the Lord, I know where to direct him rather than like, hey, that's okay that wasn't win necessarily, but like that's not where your hope or identity comes from.
And I'm a wing or a Enneagram 3, which you probably know better than I do what that means.
Yeah, so an achiever. So your validation is from things you do and things that hearing people like affirm you, things like that. So
but it's actually helped us, I think, in a lot of ways towards ministry because we both want to see things grow and we take a lot of pride in that. And so that's one thing that I think God has wired us. Another thing too is I think even our experience, we both grew up in more traditional, not that there's anything wrong with that. The churches we grew up in were great and got us to where we're at now. But I think, at least for me, I don't know if you can relate to this, but I think growing up at the church I was a part of, it felt very much like rules based. Yeah. It felt very much like you have to behave to belong, right? Yeah. Change the way you look, change the way you act, and then you can belong here. And so when we got older, as I've gotten older, I began to just realize how like Jesus was so approachable. In fact, he invited himself over to people's houses that were nothing like him. And I began to realize we both have that a lot of our ministries, one of the things people would describe them as is we try our best to just make it very welcoming and approachable and fun, and free because I think fun matters so much. It's a part of who we are. And so I think that was the thing growing up. I didn't equate church and fun like at all. Yeah, no, same.
I mean, I would leave our Sunday morning services from the church I grew up in just feeling like really beat down. It was a lot of like rules and this is how you have to act in order to have him, approve of you. And so there was, just a lot of like no movies, no, the specific music. We had to listen to the
cheesy Christian music.
I'm just kidding. No, it was just like, it was a lot about rules and not as much about relationships. So then when I found, the church after that, I was like, oh, wow, like you can have fun and breathe and be in community and also be real and authentic. Also, like the Lord wants us to, like for our protection, there are things that we should be doing and shouldn't be doing. And then it was the why. It wasn't just like, this is how we do it. It was like the why behind it is what I started to learn. And I'm like, oh yeah, that makes total sense.
Yes. And we definitely want to create church environments where people can come, be themselves. But at the same time, we're not like winking at sin by any means or saying, hey, it's okay, just come as you whatever. But at the same time, we believe that it's God who changes people. It's the Holy Spirit that convicts you. And we just hope to open up the door so people feel like, hey, this place is normal. I can be myself here. And then also, wow, there's this Jesus person. And then I think another thing that sets us apart a little bit is that we're both super sensitive to like a vibe, Yeah. So we definitely can tell a place has it or not.
People ask us like, oh, where do you like to go? Where should I go to dinner? Where do you recommend? And we'll be, maybe me even more, but we'll be like, okay, this place is so cool. Like the vibe is great. The like decor is awesome. The menus are cute. And then they're like, how's the food? And I'm like, it's so cute there. Like I'm like, the ranch is good.
Yeah, the ranch is good. But
we want the food to be good, but we also like, if it is, so I would rather go to a place that has like pretty good food, but really cool vibe than like awesome food, but it's just like, meh.
Which is so funny because when we go on vacation and her dad is involved, it's like the funniest thing because his recommendation.
He wants it cheap, really.
He wants it cheap, but he's like, there's a barbecue place that you can get,
And I'm just like,
I don't know why I just did a southern accent when I referenced
He's not
him.
Country.
He's not country at all. But the vibe matters a lot. So how are we going to bring it to the Stoney campus, the it factor?
Okay. This is just something little, but we're going to have good coffee. I'm just really, I don't know. We have to make sure it's in the budget, but if you want good coffee, you are going to come to Stoney Creek because we're going to make sure the coffee is awesome.
That's right.
The coffee at Sterling Heights is great too.
Yes. That's so funny though, that bringing it just means good coffee.
Good coffee.
Yes. But I would say, because of the fact that we've had the privilege of starting, a lot of new ministries. Literally every church that we've been at, it's been new ministries or new programs or, even HC groups. At Heritage has been so awesome. Like that's the big part of like mine and the team I was on, the vision we had, which is really cool. But for me, new has never scared me, literally at all. In fact, sometimes Kristin gets mad because I like change a lot and like to change things up. But I'm always inspired by this verse, Isaiah 43:19. It says this. This is God speaking through Isaiah. He says this, "For I'm about to do something new. See, I have already begun. Do you not see it? I will make a pathway through the wilderness. I will create rivers in the dry wasteland. So God here is just saying like, there's something new. Do you see it? Like basically he's saying like, you have to have vision to see something that isn't there yet.
Yeah.
Things that were dry, he's going to bring life to it. Things that were dead, he's going to, renew them and give them strength.
I love that he says, like, I am making it away.
Yes.
So, like, that takes the pressure off us to be like, okay, Kyle and Kristin are doing it, or our launch team's doing it. Like, it is him. He's already started and already begun to do it, and we've already seen that. Like, the way that he's opened up doors in ways that only 100%. He can with Stoney Creek, the way that he's, like, literally placed the perfect people at certain services so they could hear certain things, so they could find us after. Like, it has been, like, truly him that's already been making a way in the wilderness, and that area, I mean, we'll probably talk about this in another podcast, but like that area that we chose is very chosen for a specific reason, because it needs fresh water and it needs like life in it, because there isn't any other church, Yeah.
And actually I'm having Jeff Forster, who's the lead pastor of Heritage, and Ryan Morrill, who's from the area, who are so passionate. And in fact, there's a crazy God story of how all the doors open and that people are going to have to pay attention to in future podcasts from Inside Stoney Creek, because you're right. Like God is doing something. And that's the cool thing is for us, I think because of how God's wired us and our ability to not be afraid of stepping into new things, is it's allowed us to see people and build teams and people to be along for the journey. Isn't that such a beautiful thing that people we've met along the way who are on the journey with us, people volunteering, serving their time on the launch team, and even in the past, a part of it. And like, it's so cool because I think what it is we can get people around us and we can kind of show them a vision that we can't fully see yet, but we believe that God is going to provide. And then when they get to see it, it's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah, because then it strengthens their faith. And then they're like, okay, when God calls them to something new in the future, they're going to be able to trust him more because they saw him come through for Stoney Creek. And they saw like the internal change that he made in their lives through being part of the campus.
And I'm so excited to bring people along on that journey, right? And there's, a lot of people talk about vision, right? And having vision. And I think vision is a tough one because a lot of times vision is like seeing something that doesn't exist yet. And that's where, like, for me, I'm excited to see. That. Well, I think we both have a little bit of that it factor in that.
Yeah.
Like really quickly, before we wrap up here, one of the things that I always thought was funny is when we were looking to flip houses, some people would walk into a house and be like, this place is a dump. And we'd walk in and be like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
And so even our real estate agent who's awesome, we'd walk through houses with him and he'd be like, all right, so I think, like, I remember the house we actually ended up flipping, we walked in, he goes, I don't see it here, man. Like, I'm not sure. And I was like, no, but look at this.
Oh my goodness.
And look at it. Like, look at the character here. And he's like, oh, yeah, okay. Like he didn't.
Then after he's like,
this is great. So sometimes you have to be able to see beyond what is there and see what the vision beyond it. And I think we both have been gifted in that way. We don't see obstacles in that way or in fear in that way. And so because of that, I'm just excited about what God is going to do in this community. And I believe, and I'm hoping and praying that the same it factor that we've seen across Heritage Church over the last few years, the way God has blessed us at Sterling Heights and Imlay City and our online campus, which is so cool, that God is going to continue to do the same thing at Stoney Creek.
Yep. I mean, it's the same DNA. We're doing the same, like if you love what's happening at Sterling Heights and if you love what's happening at Imlay City, like that is what we are creating at Stoney Creek. Like we are, and it's going to be in your neighborhood and it's going to be where you can invite your neighbors and your friends because it's where they're living. And so it is, I have no doubt that he's going to continue to have allow us to have that it factor at Stoney Creek.
And not the ick factor.
No icks.
Yes.
No bad ranch.
All right. Well, hey, thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see you soon for our next episode of Inside Stoney Creek. See ya.